Man, those flowers are dead.
I know, I need to do something. I'm going to trim away the ones that we don't need and get everything in order there. For dessert, I thought I'd make a fruit smoothie because you guys didn't have fruit smoothies. It's Kathy. I'm not going to answer it. I really don't need to talk to her right now. I spent the whole day with her, like helping her out.
I don't know why I fell asleep.
Well, because you were tired and you needed a rest.
I never take naps.
You don't. However, you've had a lot of activity, and it makes sense that you might be a little tired.
Very unusual for me to fall asleep in the daytime.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
But when there's a lot of activity, it makes sense that you might need a little sleep.
Well, I guess so. I don't know. All I know that it's very unusual for me to take sleep in the daytime. I just went to lie down and I was listening to the music and I just fell asleep.
Mi consentida. Mi corazón.
It's the other way around. You're my corazón.
Let me see your nails. I need to do mine. I didn't know if you needed yours too.
I haven't bitten them as much as
I think you could use some new nail polish. I think that it's...
Oh, this is relatively new.
Yeah, but I like to paint nails.
Okay, so you're thinking of what
I'm thinking we could do
you're
matching.
thinking about what you want to do.
Yeah.
This doesn't attract
Yeah, but I have a really light...
I don't want any attention
but if I have a really light polish that won't attract attention, could we put it on?
If you want.
I like to do matching. I need to file my nails down. They're a little long right here. Like, they're uneven. I want them to be even.
I just did these. All I have is stumps.
I know.
Well, stumps from biting. What else are they?
From biting.
And then on top of that, look at all the brown spots I now have.
It's not that bad.
Man, everybody's always nipping their nails these days.
Everybody's biting their nails? I've always had that terrible habit.
May I ask you a question, Melita? What is your favorite memory of Annie and Patricia when they were little? Do you have a memory of them that is your favorite?
I have a lot of them. They always look cute and like little dolls, and I always curl their hair and dress them very nicely, and so and people were attracted to them a lot.
Yeah. They were.
Yeah. And they turned into little devils.
From dolls to devils, huh?
Yeah.
I love how corny your voice is, Jen.
Please. Don't say things like that.
I'm just joking.
In spite of all the criticism of me all throughout my life, I was a good mother. I took good care of my daughters. The problem was that if he got angry, he got violent. And he would hit them, sometimes with his belt. They haven't forgotten that. See, because that was done to him, so he thought it was okay.
Yeah.
Crazy the way life is, isn't it?
Must have been so hard for you.
Well, I was sure an nincompoop. I knew nothing about it, nothing. I was so naive. I just was so overly protective. Yeah?
Yeah.
And everything was, it was difficult because since they lost the boy, they were obsessed with me.
Right.
And so that every little thing was fearful to them that would happen to me.
Right.
So I grew up overprotective. And then also with fears that I developed that my mom had about little things. You know, everything, she was fearful of everything happening to me. Because I never got over it. Apparently he had blue eyes, and he was blonde. And they called him Mario.
Mario.
And they never got over it. And I heard about it all my life. In a way, I had a rival.
Yeah, you did.
Uh-huh.
You did.
What it did to me, or if it did or did not affect me, I don't know, but that's what I grew up with. You know, maybe if it happened to us today, we'd go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she just tried to work it through her prayers and going to church and praying. Talking about him, I guess, and then talking about what he would have been.
It's interesting because when a parent loses a child, it's often the case that they respond either one way or the other. And what I mean by that is either they will take away all of the pictures of that child and put them somewhere tucked away where they never see them and pretend as if that child never existed. Or they will continue to have pictures on display in the house and talk about that person that they lost. I've seen it two ways.
As the years came and passed, you know, and I got older, then I began to understand that situation because they never stopped talking about it.
Yeah.
That's how they held on to him, even though he wasn't there.
By holding on to the memory and their own fantasies of how he might have been.
Papa would say, yo creo que hubiera sido un abogado. And then they discuss about and talk about if he had been an abogado, licenciado. And then another time, Papa would say that maybe he would have been a doctor. I remember that part. Hubiera sido un doctor, you know. And that's how they coped, talking about what he might have been. And of course I didn't get it. How could I get it? Except listening, you know. And I don't know if it affected me.
It must have.
I don't know. Was I capable of jealousy at that age? Or was it just a conversation going on with adults that I didn't quite understand?
But you remember it. You remember what was being said, so you did understand.
Well, I remember some of the things.
You knew that they were talking about your dead brother, so you knew. So it had to have affected you.
Well, because they talked about him when I was older also. So I remember because I was also, they talked about him all their lives. And then what happened is Mama didn't want to have any more children. She suffered that she was sinning by preventing getting pregnant. I hate the Catholic Church for that. But like, my mother suffered guilt all her life because she was preventing getting
Your
pregnant.
father-in-law tried to make you eat steak tartare, the raw beef.
You got a great memory, darling. They were gourmet people.
Mm-hmm.
They were totally into food and entertaining. And can you imagine raw beef?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got a good memory.
Yeah. I personally love steak tartare.
You've eaten it?
I've eaten it, yeah.
And?
I like it.
Really?
But it has to be prepared just right.
Mama was very into the cooking.
Mm-hmm.
But so were these people, only on another level.
Trisha was a very large baby. She was very heavy.
9 pounds and 14 ounces.
Huge. And yet you gave birth to her.
Yeah,
Wow.
it wasn't cesarean.
Amazing. And then there was a third child, but you were sick. You were very sick. I can't remember if you had scarlet fever, but for some reason you were very sick and you weren't able to give birth to the third child.
No,
And the doctor actually performed an abortion because you were so sick.
I think so.
I remember that.
I think so, but I forgot the little details about it.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that something was done so I wouldn't have it. I think I could have come out of that marriage more screwed up than I did.
I think so too.
The only other thing that I think affected my life was that Papa and Mama talked about my brother all their lives. But that's what gave them comfort, remembering him.
Yeah.
They just never got over it.
Mm.
Well, I suppose it's when you have, I suppose parents don't. If they have a child and they lose it.